Spain came into this FIFA World Cup 2026 clash carrying enormous expectations. They were already considered one of the most complete teams in the tournament, but against Saudi Arabia, they delivered something even more important than 3 points. They delivered a statement, a warning, a message to every nation still dreaming of lifting the World Cup trophy. From the very first whistle, Spain looked like a team that knew exactly who they were. There was no hesitation, no nervousness, and no uncertainty. Every pass had purpose, every movement had intention, every attack seemed carefully designed to expose weaknesses in the Saudi defense. Saudi Arabia entered the match knowing they were facing one of the strongest footballing nations in the world. They also carried memories of one of the greatest World Cup upsets in history when they shocked Argentina in 2022. Many fans wondered whether another surprise could be possible. Could Saudi Arabia once again become giant killers on football's biggest stage? For a few minutes, that possibility remained alive. Saudi Arabia started with energy and determination. They pressed aggressively and tried to disrupt Spain's rhythm before the European giants could settle into their passing game. The crowd could sense their belief. The players were fighting for every ball. There was a feeling that if they could survive the opening stages, perhaps pressure would begin to build on Spain. But elite teams have a way of destroying hope before it becomes confidence. Spain gradually took control of possession, and once they established dominance on the ball, the match began to move entirely on their terms. The midfield looked like a masterclass in modern football. Every player seemed to know where his teammates would be before receiving the ball. Saudi Arabia chased shadows as Spain passed around them with remarkable ease. What makes this Spanish side so dangerous is not simply their ability to keep possession. Many teams can hold the ball. Spain's true strength lies in what they do with it. Their passing is not just about control, it is about manipulation. They move opponents out of position, create spaces where none previously existed, and then attack those spaces with ruthless efficiency. The opening goal felt inevitable. After a long spell of possession, Spain found the breakthrough that their dominance deserved. The move itself perfectly represented everything this team does well. Quick combinations, intelligent movement, patience in build-up, and then a clinical finish when the opportunity finally arrived. As the ball hit the back of the net, the entire atmosphere changed. Saudi Arabia suddenly faced a difficult reality. Their original game plan had already been damaged. Now they needed to take more risks. They needed to push forward. They needed to search for an equalizer against a team that specializes in punishing opponents who leave spaces behind. That is exactly where Spain became even more dangerous. Rather than slowing down after taking the lead, they increased the pressure. The confidence flowing through the team was visible. Every successful pass seemed to increase their belief. Every attack looked more threatening than the last. Saudi Arabia continued to fight. Credit must be given to their players because they never stopped running, never stopped competing, and never stopped believing they could create opportunities. But football at this level is often decided by quality, and Spain possessed far more of it across the pitch. The second goal arrived as another reminder of the gap between the two sides. Spain's attacking players combined brilliantly, slicing through the Saudi defensive structure with speed and precision. What stood out was not just the finish, but the intelligence behind the entire sequence. Every player involved understood his role perfectly. The movement off the ball created confusion. The timing of the pass was flawless. The execution was ruthless. At 2-0, the contest already felt close to finished. Saudi Arabia's challenge became almost impossible because chasing the game against Spain often means suffering even more. The more you attack, the more space you leave. The more space you leave, the more Spain punish you. By halftime, Spain looked completely in control. The statistics told part of the story, but they could not fully capture the feeling of the match. Spain were not merely winning, they were dictating everything: the tempo, the rhythm, the positioning, the flow of the game. Saudi Arabia were reacting to Spain rather than imposing themselves. As the second half began, many expected Spain to become more conservative. After all, protecting a 2-goal lead in a World Cup match is usually a sensible approach. Spain had different ideas. Instead of protecting the result, they continued chasing perfection. This mentality is exactly why so many analysts consider them genuine contenders to win the tournament. Great teams do not simply seek victory, they seek dominance. They seek performances that create fear in future opponents. They understand that every World Cup match sends a message to the rest of the competition. Spain's message was becoming louder with every passing minute. Their third goal showcased another dimension of their quality. While much attention is given to their possession game, this team can also strike with incredible speed when opportunities appear. A rapid transition caught Saudi Arabia exposed, and the finishing touch was delivered with absolute confidence. At 3-0, the result was no longer in doubt. The only remaining question was how strong Spain's statement would become. Saudi Arabia attempted to respond. They pushed forward whenever possible and tried to create moments of inspiration. There were occasional flashes of promise, but Spain's defensive organization remained exceptional. Every time Saudi Arabia looked ready to build momentum, Spain shut the door. One of the most impressive aspects of Spain's performance was their balance. Often, highly attacking teams leave themselves vulnerable defensively. Spain managed to attack relentlessly without losing structure. Their defenders stayed composed. Their midfield protected dangerous areas. Their pressing prevented Saudi Arabia from developing sustained attacks. It was the kind of complete team performance that coaches dream about. As the minutes continued to pass, Spain looked fresher, sharper, and more confident than their opponents. The energy levels remained high. The concentration never dropped. There was a clear determination to finish the match in the strongest possible fashion. And then came the fourth goal. By this stage, Saudi Arabia were exhausted physically and mentally. Spain exploited that reality with devastating effectiveness. Another beautifully crafted attack ended with the ball in the net, completing a scoreline that reflected the difference between the two teams. 4 goals, 0 conceded, a complete performance, a complete warning. When the final whistle eventually approached, Spain looked like a team operating at championship level. The players celebrated professionally rather than emotionally because they understood that bigger challenges still lie ahead. This was not the moment to declare victory in the tournament. It was the moment to announce their arrival as one of its most dangerous contenders. The rest of the football world was watching. Rivals who hoped Spain might show weaknesses instead witnessed a side overflowing with confidence. Opponents who believed they could disrupt Spain's style saw a team capable of adapting and dominating. Fans dreaming of World Cup glory saw another reminder that Spain may once again be preparing for something special, because this was about more than a 4-0 victory. This was about authority. This was about belief. This was about a team announcing that they are not here simply to participate in FIFA World Cup 2026. They are here to challenge for the trophy itself. That is what makes performances like this so significant in a World Cup. Every tournament develops its own storylines. Some teams grow stronger with each game, others slowly fade under the pressure. The teams that eventually reach the final stages are usually those capable of building momentum early, and Spain appear to be doing exactly that. What stood out most against Saudi Arabia was the maturity of the performance. This was not a team relying on individual brilliance to rescue them. It was not a team surviving through moments of luck. Everything seemed organized, controlled, and carefully executed. The structure remained intact from the first minute to the last. That is often the difference between a good team and a championship team. Good teams can produce impressive victories. Championship teams make impressive victories look routine. Throughout the match, Spain displayed a level of confidence that comes only from a squad filled with talent and experience. Every player trusted the system. Every player trusted his teammates. There was no panic when Saudi Arabia pressed. There was no frustration when attacks took time to develop. Spain remained patient because they knew opportunities would eventually arrive, and when they arrived, they took them. The finishing was clinical, but the build-up behind those goals was equally important. Spain repeatedly demonstrated why their football philosophy has remained respected across generations. The ability to control possession while still creating meaningful chances is incredibly difficult to achieve. Many teams dominate possession without threatening the opposition goal. Spain managed to do both. That combination makes them one of the most feared sides in international football. For Saudi Arabia, this was undoubtedly a difficult evening, but there are still lessons that can be taken from the defeat. The scoreline may look harsh, yet facing a team of Spain's quality often exposes areas that need improvement. The World Cup is not only about victories, it is also about learning, adapting, and responding to setbacks. The Saudi players never stopped fighting despite the growing deficit. Even when the result appeared settled, they continued competing. That spirit matters because tournaments are rarely defined by a single match. Teams that recover from disappointment often surprise people later. However, on this particular day, the spotlight belonged entirely to Spain. As football fans around the world watched the highlights, one question began appearing repeatedly. Are Spain the most complete team in the tournament? It is a fair question. They possess technical quality in midfield. They possess creativity in attack. They possess defensive discipline. They possess depth across multiple positions. Most importantly, they appear to possess a clear identity. Many national teams spend years searching for an identity. Spain seem to know exactly who they are. They know how they want to play. They know how they want to control matches. They know how to react when opponents challenge them. That clarity can become a massive advantage during the later stages of a World Cup. Pressure increases dramatically once the knockout rounds begin. Every mistake becomes more costly. Every opportunity becomes more valuable. Teams without a clear identity often struggle when pressure reaches its highest level. Spain look prepared for those moments. The victory over Saudi Arabia also sends a psychological message to future opponents. Football is not played only on the pitch. There is a mental battle that begins long before kickoff. When teams see a contender producing dominant performances, confidence can shift even before the match starts. Opponents begin asking difficult questions. How do we stop their midfield? How do we limit their possession? How do we survive their pressing? How do we create chances against their defense? Those questions become even harder when the team wins 4-0 while making the game appear comfortable. Perhaps the most dangerous aspect of Spain's performance is that there is still room for improvement. No team reaches perfection during a World Cup. Coaches always identify details that can be refined. Small adjustments can make strong teams even stronger. That possibility should concern the rest of the tournament. If this version of Spain is already producing performances like this, what happens if they improve further as the competition progresses? History shows that many World Cup champions start strongly and then become even better as confidence grows. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in sport. Players begin believing they can beat anyone. The squad develops unity. The pressure transforms into motivation. Spain seem to be moving in that direction. Of course, football always remains unpredictable. That is why fans love the game. A dominant performance today does not guarantee success tomorrow. Every World Cup has produced surprises. Every World Cup has humbled favorites. Spain understand that reality better than most nations. They know difficult tests still await them. Stronger opponents will come. More organized defenses will come. Higher pressure situations will come. But after witnessing this display against Saudi Arabia, it is difficult to imagine Spain fearing any challenge. Their passing was elite. Their movement was intelligent. Their defending was disciplined. Their finishing was ruthless. Those are qualities that travel well in tournament football. As the players left the pitch, there was a noticeable sense that something important had happened. Not because Spain defeated Saudi Arabia. Many people expected Spain to win. The significance came from the manner of the victory. Winning is one thing, dominating is another. Spain did not merely collect 3 points. They established themselves as one of the teams everyone else must now pay attention to. The coaching staff will undoubtedly be pleased with what they witnessed. Every tactical instruction appeared to be executed effectively. The pressing structure functioned. The midfield controlled possession. The attackers converted chances. The defenders remained focused. When all phases of the game work together, the result can look overwhelming. That is exactly what happened here. For neutral fans, this performance served as a reminder of why Spain remain one of football's most respected nations. Across different generations, they have consistently produced technically gifted players capable of controlling matches through intelligence rather than physical power alone. Against Saudi Arabia, that tradition continued. The ball moved quickly. The players moved intelligently, the opportunities appeared repeatedly, and the goals followed. By the time the final whistle sounded, the scoreboard read 4-0, but the impact of the result extended beyond those numbers. This was a declaration that Spain have arrived at FIFA World Cup 2026 with serious ambitions. A declaration that they possess the quality required to compete with any nation in the tournament. A declaration that they intend to fight for football's biggest prize. Saudi Arabia experienced the full force of a team operating near its best level, and the rest of the world was watching carefully. Because when a traditional football powerhouse combines talent, confidence, discipline, and momentum, something special can happen. The road to the World Cup trophy remains long. Obstacles remain ahead. Difficult opponents remain waiting. But after a commanding 4-0 victory over Saudi Arabia, one thing has become impossible to ignore. Spain have sent a warning to the world. And if this performance is a sign of what is still to come, every contender chasing World Cup glory has good reason to pay attention.